come chill on the couch with us.
Welcome back to another great day on the couch here, and today marks the day before referendum day here in WA. Now, we've had 3 referendums in Western Australia, and I'll tell you when they were. They were in 1975, 1984 and 1992 for daylight saving. Now, all those 3 referendums were beaten by the no case. And the rural area and the regional Western Australia were the main no voters. Today we thought we'd bring in 3 politicians who may be able to enlighten us on which way we might want to vote tomorrow, being the 16th of May. And let me introduce the people on couch today. They are, of course, the member for Forestville, Mr. Andrew Waddell. Please give him a round of applause, please.
G'day, how are you?
We've also got the member for Ocean Reef, Mr. Albert Jacob. Please give him a round of applause. And, of course, an old face of the couch and now in government, we've got Mr. Tony Simpson, the member for Darling Range, an old face of the couch.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Welcome back, Tony.
No worries, thank you, Fred. Can you ease up in the old bit?
Oh, I will, thank you.
Yeah.
The young Tony Simpson.
Thank you, that's
can I just
more
say.
like it, yes.
But welcome, guys, to the couch and this first edition of Polywaffle for this year. Now, the 4th referendum, guys.
Yes.
Now, can I ask you firstly, quickly, maybe we'll start with Andrew. How do you reckon it's going to go, Andrew?
It's going to be very close indeed.
Yeah?
I think that there are a lot of people who feel that we should just give it a shot and really aren't thinking a great deal about it. There's certainly a larger Perth population this time than there has been in the past, so it is going to be a closely
your
run
personal vote on this, as Andrew, you're voting a no or yes?
No, I'm trying to see if I can wrangle it, 4 or 5 times that I can vote no, yeah.
Okay. So why are you voting no? Why are you urging people to say no?
Well, I'm one of those people who actually benefited from the trial because I went into the trial in the yes camp. And I went through the trial and experienced it in a way that I had never experienced daylight saving before, because this time I had a young family. This time I had a young daughter who was 4 when the trial started and is 7 now. And I saw what impact it had on her. I saw how difficult it made her sleeping. I saw how grumpy she was the next day. And I also saw what her friends and schoolmates were like. And talking to a lot of other parents, they expressed a lot of concern about the effect that daylight saving had on their children. And that got me thinking, okay, why was I in favour of daylight saving? And the short answer was I was in favour of it in the 1980s and the 1990s because I bought into that we need to be in sync with the eastern states. But then I asked myself, well, are we in the same world today that we were then? And the short answer is no. Today we have the internet, today we have email, mobile phones, communication. We operate in a global environment more than just an Australian environment. A company in Perth is more likely to be dealing with China than it is with Sydney. And so that need to be in sync with the East suddenly didn't seem that logical anymore. And the more I sort of looked into it, the more the arguments began to fall, and I started to feel more and more passionately about the no case.
Yeah, Albert, I assume you don't agree with him.
No, in fact, it's the first time I've heard Andrew discuss it in depth in that way, and I'm actually couldn't be more opposite. I went into the trial firmly in the no camp, and the 3 years has actually, after the first year, I was still in the no camp. Second year, I was sitting on the fence, but after the third year, the thought of not having it again, I've become very used to it, and my wife and I have really made it work for us.
Why do you like it? What do you like? Why do you think West Australians that vote yes will want it? Why do they want it?
It's just the extra daylight time in the afternoon. For what my wife and I do, well, my wife's a nurse, so she starts at 7 in the morning anyway, so early morning exercise doesn't work for us. It's the exercise, the fitness side of it that really works for the two of us. We go down and play tennis in the afternoons. I live in a coastal electorate. We can go down and enjoy the sunset down on the beach. We go and ride our bikes around the lake. It's just been a whole wealth of time. And in terms of fitness, I know in the last couple of years, as we've got busier and busier in our own private lives, health and fitness has sort of fallen by the wayside for the two of us. But these 3 years, we've actually been able to pick it up again, and we've really made quality use of that time. And it's also been good quality time for the two of us as well. Having said that, but I was quite happy, I guess, just to quietly vote as an elector, and I wasn't really going to make a stand for my yes vote. What actually prompted me to come out and be publicly on the yes campaign side, I guess, was some of the facetious arguments of the no camp, or what I saw to be facetious. And I think you'd probably agree with me. One of your comments in the paper were that. And yeah, the curtains fading and those type of comments. I thought, well, this is just silly. Let's at least elevate it to, a logical argument. I realise people will decide their personal preference on where they stand.
I will agree with Andrew on one case. My sister has a very young family, and her children, they do find it very hard to go to sleep at night, and that's a factor where she has to change the way she parents them. It's only so much you can put on windows to darken the room and things like that. But apart from that, I think families, you get the opposition view that you have more time to enjoy your lifestyle with your family.
And when you go to the Yes and No campaign, look at the facts, both will say it's good for families. That's quite interesting to see.
Yes.
Why I say it's good for sleep. So interesting to see that. And the referendum itself, I think there's some figures floating around. There's 400,000 voters in Western Australia that weren't there last time. And they'll be aged stuff like Albert there, 35 to 18.
Yep.
And they'll be the age bracket that will be there, because we've had 53, 54, 52 type thing. So those 400,000 voters that are now be able to vote that couldn't vote last time will be the ones, because I think that anyone who's had it before hasn't changed their mind.
Yep.
But I think that 400,000 would be the ones that will be.
Where do you stand, Tony? You're like me, you don't care either way.
I actually enjoy it some days and don't like it the next. I'm on the actual record on the no side, mainly because I voted no when John and Matt brought that bill into the private member bills into the House. I did vote no. I was the only one city guy to vote no, one of 11 of us that voted no for the trial. And that was mainly on the issue that the fact that I didn't think it was needed then. But I must admit, I have got to, some days it's quite great. On weekends with my kids in the pool, I think it's quite great to have some extra time. But then I can see the other argument. March I don't like. That's dark. That worries me. But I think there's room for movement too. But I got one vote. You got one vote. So has Albert and Andrew. So.
Do you guys think that that's been sold well here? Because I mean, personally, I haven't seen very much on TV or the paper. Has that been a purpose thing from the government and opposition not to publicise it that much?
I think the election
no one will
commissions...
vote?
Yeah, no, the election commissions had a budget and they've set to it. They've put full-page ads and so forth. It's mainly working people where there will be a small bit of advertising on radio and TV, as it has been, a small amount, but not a great deal. But it's I think it's pretty wide and it's always in the paper somewhere. And as this week's gone by, it's been very strong.
Okay. One of the problems is that this isn't a Labor, Liberal, National split. This is all across the board.
Yes.
In the No camp, there are people from every single party involved.
Which is great that you can have an open
Yes
vote.
camp. So nobody has access to their political party's resources for the campaign. So we don't have very deep pockets at all. In fact, I've been busy, paying for T-shirts and badges and things like that out of my own pocket, simply because there's this expectation that these things will be there, but there's actually nowhere for them to come from. So that's probably been why it's been a bit low-key.
Have your electorates got involved? Have they contacted? Do you get a lot of calls from your people saying they're either bitterly against it or want it, desperately want it?
I certainly do. I don't think, however, from what you were saying, that there's actually a lot of room to campaign in this issue on either side. I think most people will make up their minds on their own side. I know the people that have contacted me have been black and white, and I get letters strongly demanding that myself as a member vote for it, or demanding that I vote against it as their local member.
John, I remember John D'Orazio when he used to get so many angry letters, thousands and thousands, and I only spoke to him a couple of days ago, and I know he's been reported in the media saying he's still urging the yes vote.
Yep.
So, and these days he's running a pharmacy that's probably open 24 hours a day, so it doesn't affect him that much. But just to wrap up, how do you guys think it will turn out in the end? Maybe, Tony, I'll get you to wrap up.
I think it'll come down to those 400,000 voters for it. I think it's leaning towards yes. This might.
You think the yes may come through this time?
I think it may too, yeah. The 3-year trial has definitely cemented it.
All right. And what about you, Albert?
I still suspect it may come down on the no. I'm hoping for a yes, but I suspect the no may win.
All right. And yourself, Andrew?
I think you could toss a coin that those new voters are really going to be quite crucial. I'm hoping that they start thinking about some of the environmental arguments we've been putting forward, where we've been saying that daylight saving causes increased use of electricity, that contributes to greenhouse gas production, and to just vote no because it's good for the environment.
Well, I suppose you can make up your mind. Tomorrow is the time. Let me...